Life in public is a stage where every action, word and choice leaves an impression, some positive, some damaging. Mastering how to behave in shared spaces isn't just about manners, it's about protecting your reputation, building respect, and navigating life with confidence. In this video, we explore 10 things you should never do in public, breaking each principle into actionable steps to improve your daily interactions. You'll learn how to control emotions, maintain hygiene, respect boundaries, and act with restraint to avoid mistakes that could cost you socially, emotionally, or professionally. Subscribe for more practical life lessons that empower you to thrive every day. Number 1. Respect boundaries. Avoid invasive behaviors. Respecting boundaries is not just a matter of etiquette. It is a fundamental principle of human dignity and social harmony. Every person you encounter in public carries an invisible line, a personal space, a set of unspoken rules, and an inner world that deserves acknowledgement. To navigate the world effectively, to foster meaningful connections, and to maintain self-respect, you must first understand that these boundaries exist and that your actions have real consequences. The ability to respect boundaries is a reflection of maturity, self-control, and emotional intelligence, and it begins with awareness and intention. Consider the crowded subway, the busy cafe, or the bustling street. Every individual moves within a personal sphere that is both physical and emotional. Crossing this sphere recklessly, standing too close, prying into someone's affairs, or interrupting their flow creates discomfort, tension, and often lasting impressions. When boundaries are violated, even unintentionally, the person on the receiving end feels a loss of control. Respecting these limits requires mindfulness. It demands the recognition that the world does not revolve around your needs and desires in that moment. Every interaction is a shared space, and how you navigate it defines the respect you give and receive. The first step toward honoring boundaries is to cultivate self-awareness. Observe how your actions, words, and body language affect those around you. Do you instinctively move into someone's personal space when speaking? Do you ask questions that feel intrusive or overstep emotional comfort zones? Awareness is the foundation for change. Once you notice these patterns, you can choose to act differently. Mindful observation of your behavior is not about self-criticism. It is about developing the discipline to act with intention rather than habit. Every step you take, every word you speak, carries weight, and awareness is the first step toward using that weight wisely. Physical boundaries are often the most obvious yet frequently overlooked. Standing too close in line, reaching across someone to grab an item, or tapping a stranger to get attention may seem trivial, but they are subtle invasions that disrupt comfort and signal disregard. Visualize the discomfort of someone encroaching on your personal space. That tension, that momentary irritation, is a clear signal of a boundary being crossed. The practice of consciously maintaining respectful distance is simple but transformative. Make it a habit to notice the invisible lines around people and honor them. In crowded environments, adjust your posture, step back when necessary, and move thoughtfully. These small gestures communicate consideration without words, building trust and goodwill effortlessly. Emotional boundaries are equally critical. Asking probing questions about someone's personal life, commenting on appearance or finances, or attempting to offer unsolicited advice may seem innocent, but they can feel invasive. Emotional spaces are private terrains that only the individual controls. Respecting them is an act of profound kindness and discipline. Instead of pushing for answers or reactions, cultivate curiosity paired with restraint. Listen actively, respond with empathy, and allow people to share what they are willing to share. The ability to engage without overstepping builds deeper connections, demonstrating that you value the person's autonomy as much as your own. Understanding boundaries also requires awareness of cultural and situational differences. What is considered acceptable in one context may be offensive in another. In some cultures, close physical proximity is normal. In others, it is intrusive. Public settings vary. A loud, animated conversation may be welcomed at a festival, but considered disruptive in a library. The capacity to read cues, both verbal and nonverbal, is an invaluable skill. Observing posture, facial expressions, and social context allows you to gauge when an action may overstep. Developing this skill requires patience, humility, and a willingness to adjust behavior to meet the comfort of others, rather than insisting on personal preferences. Practical application of respecting boundaries begins with simple, actionable steps. First, slow down. Many boundary violations occur because individuals act impulsively or without awareness of their surroundings. Take a moment before engaging with others to assess the environment and consider how your actions may be perceived. Second, practice active listening. Listening is not merely waiting for your turn to speak. It is absorbing the other person's words, tone, and demeanor to understand what is welcome and what is not. Third, use mindful language. Avoid intrusive questions, unsolicited opinions, or comments that may be interpreted as judgment. Words carry power, and careful choice can prevent inadvertent harm while fostering trust. Another critical aspect is self-restraint. The impulse to touch, intervene, or comment may arise from good intentions, curiosity, or enthusiasm, yet it must be tempered with awareness. Every person has the right to control their space, and exercising restraint is a sign of strength rather than weakness. Self-discipline in this context is a daily practice. It is demonstrated in subtle ways, leaving enough physical space in lines, asking permission before offering advice, or resisting the urge to dominate conversations. Over time, this discipline becomes second nature, creating an aura of respect and reliability that others intuitively recognize. Boundaries are also reflections of inner mastery. A person who respects the limits of others has likely learned to manage their own impulses, desires, and emotions. The Stoics emphasized the importance of self-control and the recognition that external circumstances should not dictate internal harmony. When you practice respecting boundaries, you are not merely preventing discomfort for others, you are cultivating inner strength. You train yourself to act with intention, to value others' autonomy, and to remain composed in the presence of external pressures. In this sense, respecting boundaries is both a social skill and a personal discipline, a bridge between personal growth and harmonious living. In practical terms, respecting boundaries can manifest in numerous small but powerful ways. Avoid lingering near strangers, especially in tight spaces. Refrain from asking questions about sensitive topics, such as finances, relationships, or personal beliefs, unless invited. Observe body language and tone, and adjust your approach accordingly. Offer assistance when appropriate, but never insist. Speak softly in shared spaces, and consider how your actions affect the flow of others' experiences. Each of these steps, seemingly minor, compounds into a pattern of behavior that signals thoughtfulness, respect, and self-mastery. The long-term benefits of respecting boundaries extend far beyond immediate social interactions. People are naturally drawn to those who honor personal space and emotional limits. Trust is built silently, reputations are strengthened, and relationships, both personal and professional, flourish. Moreover, practicing restraint and awareness in public cultivates patience, empathy, and emotional resilience. These qualities are essential not only for social harmony, but for personal fulfillment. A life lived with respect for boundaries is a life lived with clarity, integrity, and conscious intention. Ultimately, respecting boundaries is a reflection of your values. It signals that you understand the interconnectedness of human experience and that you are willing to act thoughtfully within that web. Avoiding invasive behaviors requires vigilance, humility, and discipline, yet it rewards the practitioner with deeper connections, smoother interactions, and a stronger sense of self. It is a daily practice, a continual effort to observe, reflect, and act with wisdom. In conclusion, respecting boundaries is more than just a polite gesture. It is a declaration of maturity, awareness, and ethical living. By observing physical, emotional, and social lines with care, by practicing self-restraint, and by responding thoughtfully rather than reactively, you build a life marked by respect, trust, and personal strength. Every interaction in public is an opportunity to demonstrate this skill, to exercise control over impulses, and to foster an environment where others feel safe, valued, and understood. Respecting boundaries transforms ordinary encounters into exercises of discipline and human decency. It is a practice that elevates not only those around you but also yourself, cultivating a life of dignity, wisdom, and profound personal growth. This chapter on respecting boundaries establishes a foundation for public behavior that is rooted in awareness, self-discipline, and empathy. By embracing these principles, you move closer to mastery over both self and circumstance, ensuring that every step you take in public leaves a positive, lasting impression. Respect is earned, trust is cultivated, and peace is fostered. All beginning with the simple yet powerful act of honoring the invisible lines that surround every human being. Number 2. Control emotions. Prevent loud outbursts. Emotional control is one of the most overlooked yet powerful tools a person can cultivate. Every moment in public carries the potential for unexpected challenges, minor irritations, or sudden surprises. People bump into one another. Conversations turn tense, and frustrations rise from the simplest delays, a long line at the store, a sudden traffic jam, or even a stranger's careless behavior. How a person responds to these moments is a direct reflection of their inner discipline and character. Loud outbursts, angry gestures, or impulsive reactions not only disturb those around you, but also erode your own sense of self-respect and control. Mastering emotional restraint is therefore not just about avoiding embarrassment. It is about developing the capacity to act intentionally, regardless of external provocations. Understanding emotions begins with awareness. Emotions are signals, not directives. Anger, frustration, or impatience are natural responses to events, but they do not have to dictate behavior. The first step in controlling them is recognizing when they arise. This requires slowing down enough to notice the subtle shifts in your body and mind, the tightening of your chest, the quickening of your breath, the clenching of fists, or the rise of a sharp tone in your voice. These are all early indicators that an emotional response is building. By observing these signals without judgment, you gain the opportunity to intervene before an outburst occurs. One of the most effective tools for managing emotions is the practice of deep, conscious breathing. When confronted with irritation or anger in public, taking even a few slow, deliberate breaths can reset your nervous system and create a space between impulse and action. Breathing is both physiological and psychological. It signals to the body that it is safe to relax, which in turn allows the mind to regain clarity. This simple act may seem trivial, but it is the cornerstone of emotional discipline. Regularly practicing this in everyday situations strengthens your ability to remain calm even in moments of heightened stress. Another essential element of emotional control is perspective. Many situations that trigger public outbursts are temporary and minor. A delayed bus, a spilled drink, or someone cutting in line may feel infuriating in the moment, but stepping back allows you to see the insignificance of the event in the grand scheme of life. Stoic philosophy teaches that the external world is largely beyond our control. What matters is how we respond. Choosing calmness over reaction is a demonstration of power, not weakness. It is a conscious decision to preserve energy, dignity, and focus for matters that truly deserve attention. Practical strategies to prevent loud outbursts involve both preparation and active engagement. Mentally rehearsing responses to common stresses can reduce impulsive reactions. Visualize encountering a rude comment, a traffic delay, or a minor accident. Imagine responding with measured calmness rather than shouting or gesturing aggressively. This mental rehearsal primes the mind to act intentionally. In real situations, it allows you to respond with clarity rather than instinct. Over time, these rehearsals become second nature, transforming automatic reactions into deliberate choices. Language plays a crucial role in controlling emotional expression. Loud, aggressive speech escalates situations and attracts negative attention, whereas calm, measured words diffuse tension, even when confronted with provocation. Speaking slowly, pausing before responding, and avoiding accusatory tones can prevent situations from spiraling. Silence can be as powerful as words. Choosing not to voice irritation immediately allows emotions to settle and prevents unnecessary escalation. The restraint to remain silent in moments of provocation is a hallmark of emotional intelligence and self-mastery. Body language is equally important. Aggressive gestures, sudden movements, or exaggerated facial expressions can amplify tension in public. Maintaining an open, relaxed posture communicates composure and signals that you are in control of your actions. This not only protects your own state of mind, but also influences the behavior of those around you. Calmness is contagious. When you model restraint, others are more likely to respond in kind. Conversely, visible agitation can trigger defensive or confrontational reactions, creating cycles of conflict that could have been avoided. Developing emotional resilience is a long-term process. It requires consistent reflection and self-assessment. After encounters that provoke strong reactions, take time to examine what triggered you, how you responded, and what could have been done differently. Journaling, meditation, or quiet contemplation are tools to reinforce this self-awareness. Understanding your triggers allows you to anticipate challenges and act with intention rather than reflex. Over time, emotional regulation becomes less about suppressing feelings and more about channeling them productively. Situational awareness also strengthens emotional control. Recognizing when an environment is likely to provoke stress allows you to prepare in advance. Crowded public spaces, heated discussions, or high-stakes interactions can be approached with mindfulness and deliberate pacing. Entering these situations with awareness and intention reduces the likelihood of impulsive reactions. Emotional regulation is not just reactive, it is proactive. Anticipating challenges, planning responses, and maintaining perspective empowers you to act with calm authority, even in the most chaotic circumstances. Empathy is another cornerstone of preventing loud outbursts. Often, public irritations stem from misunderstandings or minor inconveniences caused by others. Considering that everyone has their own struggles, distractions, and pressures can soften emotional reactions. When a stranger cuts you off in traffic or speaks harshly, pausing to imagine their perspective diminishes the intensity of your own frustration. Empathy transforms irritation into patience, anger into understanding, and conflict into opportunity for composure. Emotional mastery is intertwined with compassion. They reinforce each other in both public and private life. Accountability is equally important. Recognizing that your emotional reactions are your responsibility is empowering. Outbursts, even justified in your mind, shift control from you to circumstance. By accepting responsibility for your behavior, you reclaim power over your responses. This mindset transforms moments of potential embarrassment into opportunities for growth. Each instance of restraint, reinforces self-confidence, builds reputation, and fosters resilience. People notice calmness, it commands respect, and subtly influences social dynamics. The benefits of controlling emotions and preventing loud outbursts extend beyond social perception. They create inner peace and stability. When you manage your emotional responses, you conserve energy that would otherwise be spent on regret, conflict, or self-criticism. Your mind becomes a tool for clarity rather than a battlefield of uncontrolled impulses. Public interactions become opportunities for demonstration of skill rather than sources of stress. Emotional discipline elevates ordinary moments into exercises in personal mastery, where every choice reinforces confidence, wisdom, and composure. In conclusion, controlling emotions in public is not a matter of suppressing feelings, but of cultivating mastery over them. Awareness of internal cues, deliberate breathing, perspective, proactive rehearsal, mindful language, composed body language, empathy, and accountability together form a holistic approach to restraint. These practices, applied consistently, prevent loud outbursts and create an environment of calm respect and dignity. Public life is full of minor provocations and unexpected challenges, yet each moment is an opportunity to demonstrate self-control. By mastering emotional responses, you not only protect your own peace, but also influence the energy of every space you enter, building a life marked by intentionality, resilience, and unwavering composure. Number 3. Keep hygiene. Avoid unpleasant habits. Personal hygiene is one of the most visible and immediate indicators of self-respect and consideration for others. In public, it is not just about avoiding embarrassment, it is a reflection of discipline, awareness, and the values you hold. Every interaction is influenced by how you present yourself, not only through appearance, but through the subtle signals your habits send. Neglecting hygiene or engaging in unpleasant habits such as spitting, picking teeth, or excessive body odor communicates carelessness and can create discomfort for those around you. The world is filled with shared spaces, and each of us carries the responsibility of maintaining a presence that is both respectful and socially considerate. The first step in cultivating impeccable hygiene is consistent routine. Daily practices, when performed with mindfulness, become invisible yet impactful elements of public behavior. Showering, grooming hair, brushing teeth, and wearing clean clothes are basic actions, yet their importance cannot be overstated. These acts are not simply cosmetic, they maintain health, boost confidence, and signal to others that you value yourself. When you take care of your body, you also set the tone for interactions. People respond to presence, energy, and cleanliness, often before words are exchanged. The effort put into routine hygiene multiplies in social influence and personal well-being. Unpleasant habits in public often arise from neglect, distraction, or unawareness. Actions such as biting nails loudly, scratching inappropriately, or constantly fidgeting may seem minor, but they create a sensory disturbance for others. Awareness is the first step toward eliminating these behaviors. Observe yourself as though you are an outsider in a crowded space. Which habits are noticeable? Which actions might be irritating, off-putting, or distracting? Self-observation allows you to identify behaviors that need adjustment, transforming unconscious routines into deliberate choices. By taking control over these small habits, you gain both self-respect and social credibility. Another critical component is the management of bodily sense. Unpleasant odors can create immediate discomfort, even when the individual carrying them is unaware. Sweating, lingering smoke, strong perfumes, or unwashed clothing are all factors that influence others' perception of you. Addressing this requires awareness, preparation, and simple habits. Keeping clothes clean, using deodorant, maintaining oral freshness, and washing hands regularly. These small practical steps demonstrate mindfulness and prevent situations that could create embarrassment or social friction. When personal scents are managed, you create an inviting presence that encourages connection rather than avoidance. Beyond physical cleanliness, consider the subtler aspects of hygiene that often go unnoticed yet have profound effects. Fingernails, for example, are extensions of personal care. Dirty or chipped nails can suggest neglect, while well-maintained nails communicate attentiveness. Similarly, hair should be managed in a way that reflects care, whether styled neatly, tied back, or simply clean. Skin, too, requires attention. Dry, cracked, or visibly neglected skin can be improved with simple daily routines. These are not superficial concerns. They are practical, observable behaviors that influence how others engage with you. By maintaining attention to these details, you communicate responsibility, discipline, and respect for shared spaces. Public behavior is also influenced by the way habits intersect with shared social environments. Actions like spitting, blowing your nose without a tissue, or leaving crumbs behind can disrupt others' comfort and leave a negative impression. These behaviors demonstrate a lack of awareness or disregard for collective experience. By consciously eliminating these habits, you contribute to a harmonious environment and cultivate a reputation of consideration. Simple routines, such as carrying a handkerchief, disposing of trash properly, and maintaining discretion while eating or drinking, elevate social interactions and reduce friction. Consistency is key in maintaining hygiene and avoiding unpleasant habits. Sporadic attention will only create inconsistency in perception. Daily discipline builds reliability. People notice patterns over time, and your actions become part of how you are remembered. When hygiene and habits are consistent, public interactions become smoother, more comfortable, and more respectful for everyone involved. Self-respect grows in parallel. Knowing that you are taking deliberate care of your presence fosters confidence, composure, and the ability to focus on meaningful engagement rather than self-conscious adjustments. The mental component of hygiene is equally significant. Approach your daily routines not as chores, but as opportunities to cultivate discipline, structure, and respect for both yourself and others. Each brushstroke, wash, or adjustment becomes a reinforcement of your commitment to personal excellence. This mindset transforms ordinary acts into exercises in self-mastery. Habits that may once have been automatic or careless are now deliberate expressions of intentional living. Public life, filled with unpredictable encounters and shared spaces, becomes a canvas for demonstrating consistency, self-respect, and reliability through these daily practices. Developing awareness of the social impact of your habits also enhances emotional intelligence. Being attuned to how actions affect those around you creates empathy and foresight. Consider how your behavior may influence the comfort of strangers, colleagues, or friends. Avoiding disruptive habits is not only about self-preservation, but about actively contributing to collective well-being. Public spaces function optimally when all participants demonstrate thoughtfulness, discipline, and a willingness to maintain harmony. Your presence becomes a stabilizing factor when habits are managed and hygiene is prioritized. Preventing unpleasant habits requires proactive strategies. Identify triggers that lead to behaviors such as nail biting, nose picking, or fidgeting. Replace them with conscious alternatives, squeezing a stress ball, practicing deep breaths, or redirecting attention to surroundings. Developing these strategies transforms potentially embarrassing or socially disruptive impulses into manageable actions. Habits are malleable. Consistent attention reshapes them over time, creating lasting improvements in both public behavior and personal perception. The benefits of maintaining hygiene and avoiding unpleasant habits extend far beyond immediate social impressions. They cultivate confidence, improve interpersonal relationships, and foster a sense of control over one's environment. People naturally respond positively to those who demonstrate discipline and self-awareness. The internal satisfaction of knowing you are presenting your best self enhances self-esteem and supports a sense of purpose. Habits, once mastered, become second nature, freeing mental energy for creative pursuits, meaningful dialogue, and deliberate engagement with life's challenges. Ultimately, hygiene and the avoidance of unpleasant habits are practices of respect for self, for others, and for shared spaces. They are acts of consideration that signal maturity, thoughtfulness, and intentional living. Each time you choose to manage a habit, wash your hands, or maintain cleanliness, you reinforce the principle that your presence carries responsibility. Public life is not merely about existing in a space. It is about interacting thoughtfully, demonstrating care, and leaving positive impressions that extend beyond words. These practices reflect inner discipline, emotional intelligence, and the ability to navigate the world with composure and awareness. By cultivating daily routines, observing the effects of habits on yourself and others, and actively replacing negative behaviors with positive alternatives, you transform ordinary actions into demonstrations of personal excellence. Hygiene becomes more than a ritual. It becomes a declaration of self-respect, a commitment to clarity, and a framework for intentional living. The avoidance of unpleasant habits complements this, ensuring that your presence in public is comfortable, inviting, and respected. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to reinforce discipline, project confidence, and contribute to a harmonious environment. In conclusion, maintaining hygiene and avoiding unpleasant habits is an essential component of public behavior and personal development. These practices create immediate comfort for yourself and those around you, build social credibility, and reinforce inner discipline. They require attention, consistency, and mindful engagement with daily routines. Yet, the rewards are profound. By investing in these habits, you cultivate respect, elevate your presence, and demonstrate mastery over the small but impactful aspects of life. The simple act of taking care of yourself in public transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for dignity, confidence, and meaningful self-improvement. Number 4. Maintain privacy. Stop oversharing details. Maintaining privacy in public is more than a matter of secrecy. It is a conscious practice of self-respect, dignity, and strategic communication. Oversharing personal details in conversations, social settings, or digital spaces often exposes vulnerabilities, invites judgment, and diminishes the sense of control you have over your life. Every individual possesses aspects of their existence that are sacred, whether they involve family, finances, relationships, health, or personal struggles. Revealing too much too soon erodes boundaries and can unintentionally shift power away from you. Protecting private information is an essential skill for cultivating trust, maintaining respect, and navigating social interactions with confidence and composure. Oversharing is often fueled by impulsivity, the desire for validation, or the mistaken belief that intimacy requires immediate disclosure. However, revealing too much too quickly often creates discomfort for others, strains relationships, and undermines your social presence. People respond more positively when they feel invited into your world gradually, rather than confronted with an onslaught of personal information. Maintaining privacy does not equate to secrecy for secrecy's sake. It is a strategic choice that communicates self-control and discernment. Each detail you withhold is an exercise in deliberate presentation, shaping how others perceive you while preserving your own peace and dignity. The first step in maintaining privacy is self-awareness. Understand which aspects of your life are inherently personal and which are appropriate to share publicly. Reflect on past experiences where oversharing led to regret, awkwardness, or judgment. By identifying triggers for revealing too much, whether anxiety, the need for approval, or emotional impulsivity, you can begin to redirect your communication patterns. Awareness empowers you to act intentionally, choosing carefully what to reveal, to whom, and under what circumstances. This control over your narrative fosters confidence and prevents public exposure of sensitive or potentially harmful details. Mindful communication is a practical strategy for protecting privacy. Consider every interaction as a choice about how much information to reveal. Avoid impulsive responses, emotionally driven confessions, or unnecessary explanations. Instead, focus on active listening, thoughtful questions, and measured sharing that serves the purpose of conversation without compromising personal boundaries. Framing discussions around neutral or shared topics creates connections without risking overexposure. By practicing restraint, you gain the ability to guide conversations, protect your inner world, and create an environment where others feel respected and comfortable. Digital spaces magnify the risks of oversharing. Social media, messaging platforms, and public forums often blur the line between private and public life. Sharing intimate details online can lead to misinterpretation, ridicule, or even exploitation. It is essential to treat online interactions with the same level of discretion as face-to-face encounters. Limit personal disclosures, think carefully before posting, and remember that content shared online often exists permanently. Privacy is not about hiding your life, but managing visibility responsibly, ensuring that only what you intend to share reaches the intended audience. Another dimension of privacy is emotional discretion. Releasing every emotional reaction, complaint, or personal struggle into the public sphere diminishes self-sovereignty and can overwhelm listeners. Emotional oversharing often leads to advice you did not request, judgment, or gossip. Cultivating emotional boundaries allows you to process feelings internally or with trusted confidants rather than exposing them indiscriminately. Techniques such as journaling, meditation, or private reflection create safe outlets for processing emotions, reducing the compulsion to seek external validation through oversharing. Protecting privacy also reinforces social respect. When you demonstrate restraint, others are more likely to trust you with their own information. Oversharing can unintentionally signal a lack of discretion, leading people to hesitate in sharing with you. By carefully curating the details you reveal, you build credibility and reliability, establishing a reputation as someone who respects both their own and others' confidentiality. Trust is earned through consistent practice of maintaining boundaries in conversation and public interactions. Practical strategies to avoid oversharing include pausing before responding to personal questions, reframing answers to focus on general experiences, and redirecting discussions toward neutral or collective topics. Using humor or curiosity can help navigate uncomfortable inquiries without disclosing sensitive information. For instance, if someone presses for details about finances, relationships, or private struggles, you can acknowledge the question respectfully while steering the conversation toward shared interests or experiences. This approach maintains engagement without compromising your inner life. Another technique is the concept of layered sharing. Reveal information incrementally based on the level of trust, context, and relevance. Immediate, full disclosure rarely builds connection. Thoughtful, gradual sharing demonstrates prudence and emotional intelligence. Observing how others respond allows you to gauge comfort, boundaries, and the appropriateness of further disclosure. Layered sharing protects your autonomy while nurturing genuine, sustainable relationships. Maintaining privacy is also a form of empowerment. Oversharing can leave you feeling exposed, vulnerable, and regretful. By controlling what is revealed, you assert ownership over your narrative and maintain influence over how you are perceived. This power extends beyond social perception. It impacts your confidence, decision-making, and mental resilience. Public spaces and social interactions become arenas for measured, intentional engagement rather than reactive vulnerability. Each moment you preserve discretion reinforces your ability to navigate life with poise, strategy, and inner strength. Furthermore, privacy fosters self-respect. It communicates to yourself and others that your life, thoughts, and experiences are valuable and worthy of careful management. People who maintain personal boundaries naturally inspire respect, admiration, and a sense of reliability. The restraint to withhold details when unnecessary, combined with the discernment to share selectively, cultivates both social grace and internal balance. You are free to engage fully with the world without feeling depleted or exposed. Over time, the habit of protecting privacy develops a subtle yet powerful influence. People recognize the measured way you present yourself, respond thoughtfully, and share intentionally. Your conversations become more meaningful, your interactions more genuine, and your reputation more trustworthy. Oversharing, by contrast, can erode these qualities, replacing respect with superficial familiarity or judgment. Thoughtful privacy is not about isolation, it is about mastering presence, selecting when and how to reveal yourself, and maintaining harmony between your inner and outer worlds. In conclusion, maintaining privacy and avoiding oversharing details is a practice rooted in discipline, awareness, and strategic self-presentation. It strengthens personal integrity, fosters trust, enhances social credibility, and preserves emotional well-being. By cultivating awareness of what information is appropriate to share, practicing layered communication, using digital discretion, and managing emotional expression thoughtfully, you create an environment where your presence is both respected and secure. Public interactions become opportunities to demonstrate control, discernment, and confidence. Protecting privacy is not secrecy, it is intentional living, a demonstration of mastery over your narrative and a powerful tool for long-term personal growth. Number 5. Stay calm. Avoid public confrontations. Remaining calm in public is a profound act of self-mastery that reflects inner strength, emotional intelligence, and social awareness. Confrontations in public settings rarely produce positive outcomes. Instead, they escalate tension, attract unwanted attention, and often result in regret for all parties involved. Life presents countless opportunities for disagreement, irritation, or conflict, but the true measure of character lies in how one responds. Choosing composure over confrontation is not a sign of weakness. It is a demonstration of control, wisdom, and strategic thinking. Public spaces, filled with diverse personalities and unpredictable situations, require patience, foresight, and restraint. Mastering the art of calmness allows you to navigate these environments gracefully, protecting both your dignity and the comfort of others. The first step in staying calm is recognizing triggers. Every individual has specific stimuli that provoke frustration or anger, whether it is rudeness, impatience, noise, or perceived disrespect. Awareness of these triggers allows you to anticipate reactions and prepare responses rather than act impulsively. Observe how your body reacts when irritation arises. Muscles tense, heart rate increases, breath becomes shallow. These physical cues are signals, not commands. By noticing them, you create a pause between impulse and action, a space in which reason and strategy can guide behavior. This pause is critical for preventing public confrontations. Breathing exercises are among the most effective tools for immediate composure. When tension arises, a series of slow, deliberate breaths helps regulate heart rate and restores a sense of equilibrium. Breathing is both a physiological and psychological reset. It allows clarity to replace emotional escalation and gives you time to assess the situation rationally. The power of controlled breathing lies in its simplicity. A few conscious breaths can transform a moment of rising tension into an opportunity for deliberate, composed action. Another essential component is perspective. Many public disputes stem from trivial misunderstandings or minor inconveniences that feel significant in the heat of the moment. Stepping back mentally to consider the larger context reduces the perceived importance of the issue. Will this argument matter in an hour, a day, or a week? Recognizing the fleeting nature of most provocations allows you to choose calmness over escalation. This approach not only prevents unnecessary conflict, but also conserves energy and maintains social harmony. Choosing to disengage from minor disputes demonstrates maturity and strategic thinking. Active listening is a practical strategy for avoiding confrontation. People often escalate conflicts because they feel unheard or misunderstood. By listening attentively, without interrupting or reacting defensively, you diffuse tension and demonstrate respect. A calm, neutral tone communicates that you are engaged but not combative. Asking clarifying questions or restating points can further show that you are attentive and measured, which reduces the likelihood of escalation. This method transforms potential arguments into structured dialogue, creating an environment in which conflict is less likely to spiral. Body language plays a crucial role in maintaining calm. Posture, gestures, and facial expressions communicate more than words. Crossing arms, pointing, or leaning aggressively signals hostility, while relaxed shoulders, steady eye contact, and open hands indicate composure. Controlling these nonverbal cues prevents misunderstanding and reduces the intensity of confrontational situations. By projecting calmness physically, you create a buffer between yourself and potential provocateurs, making escalation less probable. The outward expression of control reinforces the internal state of composure. Setting boundaries is another critical element. Calmness does not require passivity. You can assert yourself firmly without aggression. Use clear, concise language to establish limits while avoiding inflammatory statements or insults. Expressing a boundary with calm certainty demonstrates confidence and respect, discouraging further provocation without creating confrontation. Boundaries are a tool for protection, not aggression, and maintaining them thoughtfully preserves both self-respect and social decorum. Preparation is essential for avoiding confrontations in predictable environments. Consider high-stress situations, crowded transportation, long lines, or heated discussions. Anticipating potential points of friction allows you to plan responses, choose optimal times and places for engagement, and decide when it is best to walk away. Preparedness builds confidence, reduces impulsive reactions, and increases the likelihood of maintaining composure in the moment. A proactive approach transforms public interactions from reactive chaos into intentional, controlled experiences. Empathy also plays a central role in de-escalation. Understanding that others may be acting out of stress, ignorance, or personal struggles reframes the situation. Empathy does not excuse poor behavior, but it diminishes the emotional charge, allowing calm and reason to prevail. Recognizing that each person has their own challenges encourages patience, reduces hostility, and fosters an environment in which confrontation is unnecessary. The ability to see the perspective of others strengthens resilience and enhances social intelligence. Self-reflection is vital for long-term mastery of calmness. After moments of potential confrontation, consider what triggered the situation, how you responded, and what could have been done differently. Reflecting on your actions reinforces lessons, improves decision-making, and strengthens the ability to remain composed in future interactions. Self-reflection transforms experiences into growth opportunities, turning each public encounter into a training ground for patience, restraint, and emotional intelligence. The consequences of failing to maintain calm extend beyond the immediate moment. Public confrontations often lead to social embarrassment, damaged relationships, and lingering regret. Emotions, once expressed explosively, cannot be retracted. Avoiding escalation preserves both reputation and personal well-being. Calmness protects mental space, reduces stress, and allows for rational problem-solving. By prioritizing composure, you create an environment where solutions, rather than conflict, become possible. Public confrontations also distract from larger goals. Energy spent arguing, defending, or retaliating is energy lost from productivity, creativity, or meaningful engagement. Choosing to remain calm preserves focus, ensures clarity of thought, and maintains momentum toward personal objectives. Composure is not merely a social skill, it is a strategic advantage, enabling you to navigate life without unnecessary distractions or conflicts. Cultivating a calm presence influences others as well. Composed individuals inspire confidence and stability in their surroundings. When tension arises, the ability to model serenity can reduce the intensity of disputes around you. People often mirror emotional cues. Calmness begets calmness. By mastering your own reactions, you contribute positively to the collective atmosphere, minimizing the likelihood of conflict and fostering harmonious interactions. In conclusion, staying calm and avoiding public confrontations is an essential practice of self-discipline, emotional intelligence, and strategic thinking. Awareness of triggers, controlled breathing, perspective, active listening, measured body language, firm boundaries, preparedness, empathy, and reflection form a comprehensive approach to composure. By choosing calm over impulse, you protect your dignity, influence your environment positively, and maintain clarity of thought in unpredictable situations. Public spaces are filled with minor provocations and potential disputes, but each moment is an opportunity to exercise restraint and mastery. Calmness is not passivity, it is strength, strategy, and a tool for creating a life defined by respect, intelligence, and deliberate action. Each interaction, when approached with composure, reinforces self-respect, builds trust, and transforms public encounters into exercises in patience, discipline, and long-term personal growth. Number 6. Be considerate. Don't block pathways. Being considerate in public is a demonstration of awareness, empathy, and respect for others. One of the simplest yet most impactful ways to show consideration is by ensuring that pathways, whether sidewalks, entrances, corridors, or aisles, remain clear and accessible. Public spaces are shared environments, and how you position yourself can either facilitate smooth interactions or create frustration, delays, and unnecessary tension. Blocking pathways, even unintentionally, sends a subtle message of disregard, disrupting flow and potentially escalating minor annoyances into conflicts. Learning to be mindful of space and movement is not just about manners. It is a reflection of discipline, social intelligence, and the capacity to navigate life thoughtfully. Understanding the impact of your presence begins with observation. Notice how people move in crowded spaces, how flow is affected by congestion, and how even a few seconds of obstruction can ripple into collective discomfort. Standing in the middle of a hallway, gathering in doorways, or lingering at critical points in a store or transit area can slow everyone down, create tension, and elicit frustration. Recognizing these patterns allows you to adjust your behavior intentionally. Consider the perspective of others. Imagine carrying groceries, pushing a stroller, or hurrying to a meeting. only to encounter someone blocking your path. Awareness fosters empathy, and empathy transforms thoughtless behavior into deliberate, considerate action. Physical positioning is the foundation of this practice. Always be conscious of where you stand, sit, or place belongings in public spaces. Ensure that you leave adequate room for others to pass comfortably. In lines, step aside to allow access or movement and avoid clustering in ways that obstruct traffic flow. Even small adjustments, such as angling yourself slightly or moving to the edge of a platform, can dramatically improve the experience for those around you. These actions require attentiveness, but communicate respect effortlessly. Consideration is often silent. It is expressed through gestures, positioning, and awareness rather than words. In addition to physical space, timing matters. Blocking pathways is often unintentional, arising from pausing at inopportune moments, checking a phone in the middle of a sidewalk, standing in a doorway to chat, or resting in a corridor. Timing your stops and positioning strategically reduces disruption. Moving aside before answering calls, finishing tasks in less trafficked areas, or choosing seating that does not impede others allows public spaces to function efficiently. These small conscious decisions cultivate patience and foresight, turning ordinary actions into reflections of thoughtful planning. Consideration also extends to possessions and belongings. Bags, carts, strollers, bicycles, and other items can inadvertently block pathways if not managed attentively. Placing items in a manner that maintains access for others demonstrates awareness and discipline. Organizing personal effects responsibly ensures that you do not become an obstacle to smooth movement. Public spaces function optimally when each person maintains awareness of both themselves and the objects they bring into shared environments. Discipline in managing belongings is as important as physical positioning in demonstrating respect and consideration. Effective movement through public spaces requires anticipation. Observe how crowds form, how people approach entrances, and where bottlenecks are likely to occur. Position yourself to minimize obstruction and maximize flow. Anticipation allows you to move smoothly without becoming a barrier, creating a sense of order even in busy or chaotic environments. The ability to read movement patterns and adjust accordingly reflects both awareness and social intelligence. Being considerate is proactive rather than reactive. It is about shaping your behavior to accommodate the collective rhythm of shared spaces. Social awareness enhances consideration further. Recognize when spaces are naturally tight or prone to congestion. Subway cars during rush hour, narrow aisles in stores, or crowded waiting areas. In these moments, actively make space, step aside, and maintain distance to facilitate ease of movement. Awareness of surroundings ensures that your presence is complementary rather than obstructive. Social intelligence involves not only responding to others, but predicting how your actions will affect the flow and comfort of everyone nearby. This foresight transforms routine movement into a demonstration of thoughtful engagement. The principle of consideration is amplified when paired with patience. Public pathways are shared by individuals with varying speeds, objectives, and attention. Frustration often arises when personal convenience is prioritized over collective comfort. Practicing patience, waiting to pass, slowing down in crowded areas, or allowing others priority demonstrates respect for communal space. This mindset reduces tension, prevents conflict, and reinforces the notion that public life requires cooperation, not domination. Patience in movement and positioning communicates maturity, empathy, and foresight. Communication, even non-verbal, plays a role in maintaining open pathways. Eye contact, gestures, or a subtle nod can facilitate understanding in crowded situations, signaling intention or cooperation. A brief word to indicate movement, such as excuse me or pardon me, ensures that others feel acknowledged and safe to proceed. These small acts of awareness, combined with careful positioning, create environments where everyone can navigate without frustration. Consideration is amplified when presence is coordinated with attentiveness to others' needs. The long-term impact of consistently being considerate extends beyond public convenience. People naturally gravitate toward individuals who are aware, respectful, and cooperative in shared spaces. Maintaining open pathways builds social credibility and demonstrates practical intelligence. It communicates that you are capable of acting responsibly and thoughtfully, even in minor, mundane moments. The habit of consideration in public translates into other areas of life, fostering patience, foresight, and respect in professional and personal interactions alike. Mindset is crucial in sustaining this behavior. View public spaces as collective systems rather than private arenas. Recognize that every movement you make influences the comfort and efficiency of those around you. Acting with this awareness transforms ordinary behavior into meaningful discipline. Being considerate requires attentiveness, intentionality, and a willingness to prioritize shared comfort over personal convenience. This approach reinforces resilience, composure, and the ability to act thoughtfully under varying circumstances. Practical strategies to cultivate this habit include conscious scanning of surroundings, maintaining peripheral awareness, and anticipating congestion points. Move deliberately rather than impulsively, step aside when pausing, and organize possessions to minimize obstruction. Engage others with courteous gestures and verbal acknowledgement when movement is necessary. These actions, while seemingly minor, accumulate into a consistent reputation for consideration and respect, enhancing social interactions and public experience for everyone involved. In conclusion, being considerate and avoiding blocked pathways is a practice of awareness, empathy, and self-discipline. It involves strategic positioning, mindful movement, management of belongings, anticipation of crowd patterns, social awareness, patience, and subtle communication. The goal is to create a public presence that facilitates ease of movement, reduces frustration, and demonstrates respect for others. Public spaces are complex, shared environments that require cooperation and attentiveness. By committing to consideration, you not only improve the experience of those around you, but also cultivate qualities of foresight, composure, and responsibility within yourself. Each step, pause, and adjustment in public becomes an opportunity to demonstrate maturity, kindness, and thoughtful engagement, leaving a lasting impact on both your character and your community. Number 7. Watch language. Avoid offensive remarks. The words we choose in public are a reflection of our character, awareness, and respect for others. Language carries immense power. It can uplift, inspire, or wound. Public settings magnify the impact of speech because conversations are shared, overheard, and remembered. Offensive remarks, whether intentional or careless, leave impressions that extend far beyond the immediate moment. Avoiding hurtful language is not about suppressing your personality. It is about exercising self-control, social intelligence, and empathy. Speaking thoughtfully demonstrates discipline, enhances credibility, and fosters positive interactions while preserving dignity for both the speaker and the listener. Every individual has unique sensitivities, and what may seem harmless to one person can feel deeply offensive to another. Cultural differences, personal experiences, and social context shape the reception of words. Being aware of these variables is critical in preventing misunderstandings and maintaining respect. Offensive language often arises from habit, frustration, or a lack of consideration. Mindful awareness of speech habits allows you to identify moments where words could harm or alienate others, giving you the opportunity to choose alternatives that communicate effectively without causing unnecessary discomfort. Self-regulation of language begins with observation of one's speech patterns. Take note of commonly used phrases, jokes, or expressions that could be insensitive. Reflect on situations where words have unintentionally upset others and analyze why. This reflective practice builds awareness, which is the first step toward intentional communication. Understanding the power of your words encourages restraint, ensuring that expression serves constructive purposes rather than generating conflict or discomfort. Tone and volume are as important as the words themselves. Harsh tones, sarcasm, or shouting amplify potential offense and can escalate situations unnecessarily. Even neutral words may be interpreted negatively if delivered aggressively or insensitively. Managing tone requires conscious effort. Slow speech, measured volume, and calm inflection reduce the likelihood of misinterpretation. Speaking deliberately rather than impulsively conveys thoughtfulness and invites others to engage without defensiveness. Listening carefully is equally essential in guiding language choices. Active listening provides insight into what topics are safe, what words resonate, and what may trigger discomfort. It allows you to respond appropriately, tailoring your language to the context and the audience. Public interactions require a balance between self-expression and social sensitivity. Being attuned to the reactions of others, facial expressions, body language, and subtle cues helps gauge whether language is appropriate, fostering smoother, more respectful communication. Mindfulness is a practical tool for avoiding offensive remarks. Before speaking, pause briefly to consider the impact of your words. Ask yourself whether the message conveys your intention without causing harm, embarrassment, or tension. This habit transforms reflexive speech into deliberate communication. Mindfulness also reduces the risk of expressing frustration or sarcasm impulsively, which often leads to regret. By cultivating this habit, you develop mastery over speech, enhancing both social interactions and self-respect. Public spaces are diverse, and language must accommodate this diversity. Avoid slurs, derogatory terms, and aggressive humor that may alienate or hurt. Refrain from excessive criticism, judgmental statements, or personal attacks. Politeness and diplomacy are not limitations. They are tools for conveying ideas constructively while maintaining harmony. When disagreements arise, framing opinions respectfully rather than offensively encourages productive dialogue rather than confrontation. Language can bridge differences rather than widen gaps when used with thoughtfulness. Equally important is understanding the permanence of spoken words. Unlike internal thoughts, words are externalized and often carry consequences. Public remarks can affect reputation, relationships, and opportunities. Offensive comments linger, sometimes resurfacing long after the moment has passed. Choosing language carefully is therefore a form of self-protection as well as respect for others. Thoughtful speech safeguards personal credibility and fosters an environment in which communication can occur without fear of insult or misunderstanding. Humor, often used to engage others, must be employed cautiously in public. Jokes that reference sensitive topics, race, religion, gender, appearance, or personal struggles can easily offend. A disciplined approach to humor involves selecting content that is inclusive, light-hearted, and unlikely to alienate listeners. Observing the reactions of others and adapting accordingly ensures that humor serves to connect rather than divide. Being entertaining without causing discomfort demonstrates social intelligence, awareness, and respect. Language management also involves self-reflection after interactions. Consider moments when conversations became tense, or when words may have unintentionally offended someone. Analyze the causes and identify alternative expressions that could have achieved the same effect more diplomatically. This ongoing reflection strengthens awareness, enhances emotional intelligence, and builds a foundation for consistent, respectful communication. Each interaction becomes a learning opportunity, refining speech habits and reinforcing discipline. Empathy is at the heart of avoiding offensive remarks. By imagining the perspective and feelings of others, you can tailor language to prevent harm and foster positive engagement. Empathy encourages patience, restraint, and attentiveness to context, allowing conversations to flow smoothly without confrontation. Understanding that words have the potential to shape experiences, influence moods, and leave lasting impressions motivates careful consideration in every interaction. Language becomes a tool for connection rather than conflict. Practical strategies for monitoring speech include slowing down before responding, choosing words that reflect clarity and respect, and avoiding emotionally charged language when frustrated. Cultivating a habit of pausing before speaking in tense or unfamiliar situations reduces the likelihood of impulsive, offensive comments. Avoiding gossip or negative commentary about others prevents unnecessary harm and maintains personal integrity. Each deliberate choice in language demonstrates control, maturity, and awareness of the broader impact of communication. The benefits of disciplined, considerate speech extend beyond immediate interactions. People respond positively to individuals who communicate thoughtfully, demonstrating reliability, respect, and intelligence. Constructive, non-offensive language fosters trust, encourages collaboration, and strengthens relationships. The ability to express opinions without aggression or insensitivity enhances social influence, professional credibility, and personal satisfaction. Discipline in language is therefore both a social and personal asset, creating environments where engagement is comfortable, productive, and mutually respectful. Ultimately, watching language and avoiding offensive remarks is a reflection of self-mastery. It requires awareness, empathy, reflection, and intentionality. Words shape perception, influence relationships, and leave lasting impressions. By exercising restraint, observing context, and considering the potential impact of speech, you cultivate an aura of respect and reliability. Public interactions become opportunities to demonstrate intelligence, emotional control, and sensitivity rather than instances of conflict or regret. Mastery over language reflects mastery over self, allowing communication to serve constructive purposes, strengthen bonds, and enhance personal growth. In conclusion, careful management of language and avoidance of offensive remarks is an essential practice for personal development, social intelligence, and public decorum. Awareness of triggers, mindfulness, empathy, reflection, thoughtful humor, measured tone, and attention to audience all contribute to respectful communication. Words, once spoken, cannot be withdrawn, making intentional speech a critical component of character and reputation. Choosing language that uplifts, informs, and respects others transforms public interactions into opportunities for connection, influence, and positive social impact. This disciplined approach to communication builds trust, preserves dignity, and demonstrates mastery over both self and circumstance, creating a life defined by clarity, respect, and intentional engagement. Number 8. Stay aware. Don't ignore surroundings. Awareness is a cornerstone of personal safety, social intelligence, and effective interaction in public spaces. Ignoring your surroundings leaves you vulnerable, disconnected, and prone to making mistakes that could have easily been avoided. Public environments are dynamic and unpredictable, People move, situations shift, and opportunities or risks arise constantly. Remaining alert and attentive allows you to navigate these spaces with confidence, avoid accidents, prevent misunderstandings, and engage effectively with the world around you. Awareness is not a passive state. It is an active practice that requires focus, discipline, and conscious observation. The first element of awareness is observing the physical environment. Notice pathways, exits, obstructions, and hazards. Crowded areas, uneven surfaces, or sudden changes in terrain can pose risks if you are inattentive. People who move through spaces without paying attention often find themselves colliding with others, tripping or causing frustration. By scanning your surroundings proactively, you not only protect yourself, but also demonstrate respect for those sharing the space. Simple observation habits, like looking ahead while walking, noticing the flow of traffic, or assessing crowded areas, transform ordinary movement into controlled, mindful navigation. Awareness extends beyond the physical to include social dynamics. Public spaces are populated with individuals who have their own agendas, emotions, and behaviors. Recognizing subtle cues, body language, tone, gestures, and eye contact provides insight into intentions and potential conflicts. Someone approaching quickly, appearing distracted, or exhibiting unusual behavior signals the need for adjustment or caution. Staying attuned to these social indicators allows you to respond appropriately, maintain safety, and interact gracefully. Observing without judgment builds empathy, while vigilance protects both personal space and social harmony. Distractions are one of the most common reasons for a lapse in awareness. Smartphones, headphones, or internal preoccupations can blind you to hazards and opportunities alike. While technology and multitasking are unavoidable in modern life, managing their use in public is essential. Limiting distractions allows you to engage fully with the present moment. Notice changes in your environment and respond proactively. Awareness is a skill that can be cultivated through consistent practice. Small habits, like lifting your gaze from a screen, listening to ambient sounds, and scanning the environment periodically, enhance situational understanding. Situational anticipation is another critical aspect of staying aware. Predicting potential challenges or changes before they occur allows you to act preemptively. In crowded streets, anticipating how people will move, where bottlenecks may occur, or when vehicles may approach reduces risk. In social interactions, anticipating responses, conflicts, or misunderstandings allows for better communication and conflict avoidance. Awareness is strengthened by the ability to project forward mentally, creating a map of potential scenarios and adjusting behavior accordingly. This forward-thinking approach transforms public navigation from reactive survival to strategic engagement. Awareness also strengthens decision-making. When you are fully attuned to your surroundings, you can make choices quickly and effectively. Crossing a busy intersection, finding the quickest route through a crowded store, or determining how to respond to an unexpected situation requires rapid, informed decisions. Ignoring cues or failing to notice details either results in errors, delays, or conflict. By observing and interpreting information continuously, you enhance your capacity to act decisively while minimizing risk and inconvenience. Awareness equips you with both safety and efficiency. Emotional awareness complements situational vigilance. Recognizing your own emotional responses to the environment, stress, frustration, excitement, or distraction, helps maintain composure and focus. Strong emotional reactions can cloud judgment and reduce attentiveness. By monitoring internal states while observing external factors, you create a balance that enhances both perception and decision-making. Emotional awareness allows you to remain calm in crowded, chaotic, or challenging public spaces, preventing impulsive or reactive behavior. Public awareness also encourages proactive safety measures. Being alert to your surroundings allows you to identify potential threats, suspicious activity, or hazardous conditions. Simple precautions, such as avoiding poorly lit areas, maintaining clear sightlines, or keeping valuables secure, reduce vulnerability. Awareness is a preventative tool that strengthens both personal safety and confidence, allowing you to move through public spaces without fear or hesitation. The mind trained to observe actively is a mind prepared to respond effectively. Cognitive focus is central to maintaining attention in dynamic environments. Train your mind to process multiple layers of information simultaneously. The movement of people, environmental changes, and personal positioning. Multitasking with awareness ensures you are not only physically present but mentally attuned. This heightened focus prevents accidental collisions, missed cues, and social faux pas. The ability to maintain attention under pressure is a discipline that enhances both personal effectiveness and social perception. Awareness also fosters social respect. When you notice those around you, make space and adjust your movements accordingly. You signal consideration. People appreciate and respond positively to those who navigate public spaces thoughtfully. This creates smoother interactions, reduces tension, and promotes a sense of community in shared spaces. Awareness is therefore both self-protective and socially constructive, building trust, goodwill, and respect simultaneously. Practical strategies to enhance awareness include scanning the environment in intervals, practicing mindfulness techniques, maintaining posture that encourages alertness, and limiting engagement with distractions. Listening attentively to ambient sounds, noticing changes in crowd dynamics, and observing potential hazards are simple practices that enhance safety and social efficiency. Awareness is a habit that compounds over time, improving both your capacity to respond and the quality of your interactions. Developing situational awareness also improves personal confidence. Individuals who understand and anticipate environmental dynamics feel more secure, capable, and in control. This confidence radiates outward, influencing social interactions positively. People tend to follow the cues of those who appear observant and composed. By staying aware, you position yourself not only for safety, but also for influence, leadership, and effective participation in public life. Finally, staying attentive to surroundings nurtures adaptability. Public spaces are inherently unpredictable. Unexpected changes, a sudden commotion, a detour, or a social confrontation require rapid adjustment. Individuals who are aware can respond fluidly, maintain composure, and make strategic choices that minimize disruption. Adaptability, reinforced by observation and attention, ensures that public life becomes manageable rather than overwhelming, creating a sense of control and mastery over circumstances. In conclusion, staying aware and not ignoring surroundings is an essential practice of discipline, foresight, and social intelligence. It requires observation, anticipation, emotional regulation, focus, and strategic response. Awareness protects personal safety, enhances social interactions, facilitates efficient movement, and builds confidence. By actively engaging with the environment, monitoring both physical and social cues, and remaining mindful in the moment, public spaces become navigable, manageable, and respectful. Each step, glance, and adjustment reflects attentiveness, care, and intentionality. Awareness transforms ordinary public experiences into opportunities for personal mastery, safety, and constructive engagement, ensuring that every interaction, movement, and decision is informed, deliberate, and effective. Number 9. Act modestly. Avoid excessive displays. Modesty is an often underestimated quality, yet it is a pillar of respect, discipline, and social harmony. Acting modestly in public is about restraint, awareness, and choosing presence over performance. Excessive displays, whether of wealth, appearance, talent, or possessions, often draw attention for the wrong reasons and can create discomfort for both the individual and those around them. Modesty, by contrast, communicates confidence without arrogance, strength without aggression, and sophistication without ostentation. It is not a denial of achievement or personality, it is a conscious expression of balance, humility, and situational awareness. Public spaces thrive when individuals practice this measured self-expression, creating environments where focus, comfort, and mutual respect coexist. Understanding the value of modesty begins with perspective. Excessive displays can inadvertently convey insecurity, a desire for validation, or a lack of consideration for social context. Flaunting wealth, status, or skills may impress some, but it often provokes envy, judgment, or discomfort in others. Modesty, however, fosters trust, approachability, and credibility. Choosing subtlety over exaggeration demonstrates that your worth is inherent, not dependent on external recognition. By embracing this mindset, you navigate public spaces with dignity and leave impressions rooted in authenticity rather than spectacle. Self-awareness is crucial for cultivating modesty. Observe your tendencies. When do you seek attention, and when do you naturally remain reserved? Understanding triggers for excessive display allows you to adjust behavior consciously. For instance, recognizing the urge to flaunt an accomplishment in a casual conversation or to show off possessions in public enables deliberate restraint. Awareness transforms instinct into choice, and choice becomes an act of discipline. Modesty grows from intentional self-regulation and a clear understanding of context, audience, and personal values. Public appearance is a primary area where modesty is expressed. Clothing, accessories, or technology can be statements of identity, but excessive or flashy items often attract attention for superficial reasons. Choosing simple, well-considered attire communicates confidence without overwhelming others. Resisting the urge to display status symbols loudly fosters an environment of equality and respect, making interactions more comfortable for all parties. Modesty in appearance balances individuality with social sensitivity, reflecting maturity and discernment. Behavior and conduct further illustrate modesty. Loud gestures, exaggerated reactions, and overt attempts to impress draw focus away from meaningful interaction. Acting with measured gestures, calm expressions, and thoughtful communication signals self-possession. This restraint allows others to engage with your ideas, personality, and actions without distraction. Modesty does not equate to passivity. It allows your character to emerge naturally without demanding validation or attention. Every action guided by restraint strengthens reputation, encourages trust, and reinforces respect. Language and conversation are critical areas for practicing modesty. Publicly dominating discussions, bragging, or insisting on personal opinions as superior can alienate listeners. Speaking with humility, acknowledging others' contributions, and sharing accomplishments tactfully demonstrates awareness and restraint. Modest communication fosters connection and collaboration rather than competition or resentment. Language used deliberately and respectfully conveys confidence and intelligence without provoking unnecessary envy or tension. Material possessions, often a source of excessive display, require careful management in public settings. Flaunting expensive gadgets, vehicles, or accessories may attract attention temporarily, but rarely builds meaningful respect. Moderation in demonstrating material success communicates security, self-awareness, and balance. Choosing to use resources thoughtfully rather than conspicuously models restraint and consideration for social context. When possessions are understated, your presence commands attention for substance rather than spectacle. Financial moderation is closely linked to modesty. Publicly showcasing wealth or spending extravagantly can create unintended consequences, from envy to social division. Modesty in expenditure signals confidence and emotional intelligence. It communicates that your value is rooted in character, not external validation. Discretion regarding finances also cultivates respect from peers and reduces vulnerability to judgment or exploitation. Thoughtful, measured displays of resources reinforce self-control and awareness of social dynamics. Digital presence also requires modesty. Social media, photos, and online updates can easily become avenues for excessive display. Sharing every accomplishment, luxury, or highlight may temporarily impress an audience, but can also generate negative attention or envy. Practicing restraint online mirrors modesty in physical spaces, ensuring that public perception aligns with authenticity rather than exaggeration. Online interactions benefit from subtlety, thoughtful sharing, and awareness of how content may be received by diverse audiences. Modesty also enhances emotional presence. Exhibiting patience, listening attentively, and responding calmly rather than aggressively conveys strength without showmanship. Excessive emotional displays, whether anger, excitement, or distress, can dominate a space and reduce the quality of interaction. Practicing measured emotional expression fosters trust, encourages meaningful dialogue, and strengthens social cohesion. Emotional restraint is not repression, it is an intelligent modulation that communicates awareness and self-discipline. The long-term benefits of acting modestly extend into social influence and personal growth. People naturally gravitate toward individuals who are confident without arrogance, expressive without exaggeration, and present without domination. Modesty fosters genuine respect, builds lasting relationships, and enhances credibility. Excessive display, by contrast, can create superficial impressions that fade quickly, leaving the individual reliant on continual external validation. A modest approach cultivates stability, authenticity, and lasting positive impact in both personal and professional environments. Cultivating modesty requires mindfulness and reflection. Evaluate behaviors regularly, consider how your actions affect others, and adjust accordingly. Practice restraint in daily interactions, from tone of voice to body language to the display of possessions. Observe role models who exemplify modesty and learn from their approach. Reflection reinforces intentionality, ensuring that modesty becomes a consistent habit rather than a situational choice. Over time, this discipline becomes second nature, shaping both character and public presence. Practical strategies include limiting public commentary about personal success, choosing subtle expressions of achievement, moderating attire and possessions, and practicing calm, respectful interactions. Observing others' reactions provides feedback for adjusting behavior, helping refine modesty in real time. By approaching public spaces with intentional restraint, you cultivate an aura of authenticity and respect that enhances every interaction. In conclusion, acting modestly and avoiding excessive displays is a practice rooted in awareness, discipline, and empathy. It enhances social interaction, preserves dignity, and fosters trust and credibility. Modesty communicates confidence, respect for others, and maturity. By moderating appearance, behavior, language, emotional expression, and material displays, you create a public presence that is balanced, thoughtful, and admirable. Every action guided by restraint reinforces authenticity, encourages connection, and contributes to a life defined by intentionality, grace, and enduring personal growth. Number 10. Show restraint. Avoid risky actions. Exercising restraint and avoiding risky actions in public is one of the most significant markers of maturity, wisdom, and foresight. Life often presents situations that invite impulsive decisions, moments where a thrill, curiosity, or impatience tempts us to act without fully considering consequences. These actions, while sometimes exciting in theory, carry tangible risks: personal injury, social embarrassment, legal trouble, or harm to others. Demonstrating restraint is a conscious choice to prioritize safety, responsibility, and long-term well-being over fleeting gratification. It is a practice that requires awareness, discipline, and foresight, and mastering it profoundly influences both personal success and public perception. The first step in cultivating restraint is awareness of context. Public spaces are inherently unpredictable. Individuals, objects, and environmental conditions are constantly shifting. Engaging in risky behavior, such as climbing barriers, running through crowded areas, or performing reckless stunts, exposes not only yourself, but those around you to potential harm. Assessing your surroundings carefully before acting allows you to identify hazards, recognize limits, and choose paths that minimize danger. Awareness turns impulsive behavior into calculated decisions, protecting both your safety and the comfort of others. Understanding consequences is central to restraint. Every action has a ripple effect, often extending beyond immediate perception. Risky behavior can provoke accidents, damage property, or generate conflict. It may also result in social or legal repercussions that linger long after the moment passes. By considering outcomes before acting, you create a mental framework for responsible decision-making. This approach not only protects physical safety, but also strengthens social credibility, personal integrity, and the perception of reliability among peers. Restraint is an investment in long-term stability rather than short-term thrills. Impulse control is a skill that underpins restraint. The ability to pause, reflect, and assess before acting allows you to override momentary desires for immediate excitement or attention. Impulsive actions often stem from emotion, excitement, anger, pride, or frustration, but responding with deliberation prevents mistakes and reduces negative outcomes. Techniques such as deep breathing, mental rehearsal, or visualization of consequences provide practical ways to strengthen self-control. Developing this habit over time transforms reactive tendencies into deliberate, thoughtful action. Public safety and social responsibility intersect through restraint. Engaging in risky behaviors in shared spaces, even minor ones, can endanger others or create unnecessary tension. Running in crowded areas, leaning dangerously on railings, or making loud, erratic movements disrupt the flow and safety of communal environments. Practicing caution demonstrates awareness of others' needs and respect for collective safety. It communicates that you are not only mindful of your own well-being, but also considerate of those sharing the environment with you. Emotional regulation supports the practice of restraint. Many risky actions are triggered by heightened emotions, anger, excitement, or competitiveness. Cultivating the ability to recognize and manage these emotions reduces impulsive behavior. Techniques like grounding exercises, mental reframing, or temporarily disengaging from a situation allow emotions to settle before action is taken. This emotional discipline strengthens composure, enhances decision-making, and reduces the likelihood of regret or harm. Restraint and emotional balance go hand in hand, creating a foundation for responsible public conduct. Restraint also involves risk assessment. Not all opportunities are inherently dangerous, but understanding probability, severity, and context allows you to make informed choices. Evaluate each action carefully. What could go wrong? How likely is harm? Who else could be affected? By applying critical thinking to seemingly trivial or minor situations, you prevent escalation and reinforce self-discipline. Responsible individuals do not avoid risk entirely, but they engage selectively and with awareness, balancing caution with opportunity. Patience is a natural complement to restraint. Many impulsive actions arise from a desire to accelerate outcomes, rushing, jumping, or testing limits before the situation is ready. Cultivating patience allows you to wait for safer conditions, consider alternative approaches, and act strategically. Time itself becomes a tool for risk management, allowing reflection, preparation, and assessment before committing to action. Public spaces benefit when individuals demonstrate patience because their presence is predictable, safe, and harmonious rather than disruptive. Restraint also involves financial and social considerations. Publicly reckless or extravagant displays, risky pranks, or careless investments in social scenarios can create embarrassment, loss of trust, or social friction. Maintaining discretion and moderation ensures that actions do not inadvertently harm reputation or relationships. By exercising judgment in visible behavior, you project reliability, thoughtfulness, and maturity, inspiring confidence among peers and observers. Responsible behavior in public reflects not only self-control, but also social intelligence and emotional maturity. Developing habits of restraint requires deliberate practice. Begin by identifying scenarios where impulsivity has historically led to risk. Implement strategies to pause, assess, and redirect energy towards safe alternatives. Reinforce positive behavior by reflecting on outcomes, noting successes in avoiding unnecessary risk, and internalizing the benefits of caution. Over time, self-regulation becomes instinctive, allowing restraint to permeate daily behavior naturally, reducing errors and increasing confidence. Observation of role models provides guidance for restraint. People who act thoughtfully, navigate risks prudently, and maintain composure in public demonstrate the power of controlled behavior. Learning from their approach, how they assess risk, regulate emotion, and exercise caution reinforces the practical application of restraint. Mentorship and example serve as powerful tools, showing that success, respect, and safety coexist with deliberate action rather than impulsive risk-taking. Restraint cultivates credibility and trustworthiness. Individuals who consistently avoid unnecessary risk are perceived as reliable, mature, and disciplined. Their presence instills confidence, both in personal interactions and within broader social environments. Trust is fragile, and reckless behavior can quickly erode reputation. By choosing caution over impulsivity, you reinforce a stable, respected image that benefits both personal relationships and social influence. Ultimately, restraint is a practice of empowerment. Avoiding risky actions does not limit your freedom. It enhances your control. By acting deliberately, you preserve options, maintain safety, and protect personal and social well-being. Impulsive or dangerous behavior, while momentarily stimulating, often leads to unintended consequences. Discipline and self-control enable freedom to engage with the world strategically, confidently, and responsibly. Each moment of deliberate restraint reinforces resilience, maturity, and long-term advantage. In conclusion, showing restraint and avoiding risky actions in public is a fundamental practice of self-mastery, foresight, and responsibility. It involves awareness of surroundings, assessment of consequences, impulse control, emotional regulation, patience, and thoughtful risk evaluation. Public environments demand both self-discipline and consideration for others, and exercising restraint ensures safety, harmony, and credibility. By cultivating these habits consistently, you transform potential impulsivity into deliberate action, protecting personal well-being, fostering respect, and enhancing social perception. Each moment of restraint is a step toward mastery of behavior, influence over circumstance, and long-term personal growth, ensuring that choices are guided by wisdom, foresight, and the pursuit of meaningful, safe engagement with the world.